Breaking news tonight in the rapidly escalating war in Iran. President Trump has issued a historic and absolute demand: unconditional surrender. As the world watches, the White House is being pressed to define exactly what that looks like. While 3,000 targets have already been decimated and the adversary's navy lies in ruins, a chilling image has emerged from the front lines: a blood-stained textbook from a girls' school where 168 innocent lives were lost. But there is an even darker shadow hanging over this conflict. Intelligence reports now suggest that Russia is actively providing the locations of our American troops to the enemy. As the USS Gerald Ford maneuvers into the Red Sea and our elite paratroopers of the 82nd Airborne prepare for the unknown, we are forced to ask the questions that keep every patriot awake at night. Are our boys in danger? Is the alliance between Israel-Iran reaching a point of no return? And as the flames of the Iran-Israel war grow higher, can we still avoid the path to World War III? Tonight, we dive deep into the reality of what is truly happening on the ground for Israel and for the world. For many of you watching tonight, especially those who wore the uniform, the sight of the AA patch, the All-American, brings back a flood of memories. From the daring jumps into Normandy to the harsh sands of Iraq and Afghanistan, the 82nd Airborne Division has always been the nation's 911 force. When the world is on fire, they are the ones who jump into the heat. Today, that familiar call to duty feels more urgent than ever. In a move that has sent shockwaves through military circles, the Army abruptly canceled a major training exercise for a key unit of the 82nd Airborne. This isn't just a scheduling change, it is a signal. While the Pentagon stresses that no official orders to deploy have been signed, veteran observers know that when the 82nd stops training, it's often because they are preparing to move, to be ready for wheels up in as little as 18 hours. The stakes on the ground are matched only by the overwhelming power we are seeing at sea. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest and most advanced aircraft carrier, has now moved into the Red Sea. This $13 billion fortress of democracy stands as a silent, massive warning to anyone seeking to ignite the region further. From its decks, and from bases across the theater, the U.S. has already struck more than 3,000 targets. The devastation is absolute. 43 Iranian Navy ships have been neutralized, effectively ending their ability to threaten international shipping lanes. Yet, as our naval and air power decimate the enemy's capabilities, the conversation has shifted to the heavy price of a ground campaign. Iranian officials have already warned that thousands of lives would be lost if American boots touch their soil. This is the heavy shadow that hangs over every decision made in the Situation Room tonight. We are seeing the raw power of the United States military in action, but we also feel the weight of history. Every strike, every movement of a carrier, and every alert for our paratroopers brings us closer to a defining moment in the Israel-Iran conflict. As we navigate the complexities of this Iran-Israel war, the protection of our interests and the survival of Israel remain at the very heart of the mission. While our brave men and women are standing guard, a chilling betrayal is unfolding in the shadows. We are now learning that Russia, an old and familiar adversary, is actively assisting the regime by providing the precise locations of American troops across the region. They are handing over coordinates for our ships and aircraft, literally helping the enemy put a target on the backs of our sons and daughters. This isn't just a regional skirmish anymore. It has become a high-stakes chess match with global powers moving the pieces. The White House may try to downplay this, but for anyone who lived through the long years of the Cold War, this alliance feels like a ghost from the past coming back to haunt us. The fog of war is already thick, and it led to a terrifying moment in the skies over the Persian Gulf. In a chaotic incident of friendly fire, a Kuwaiti fighter jet mistakenly targeted and shot down 3 American F-15s. Footage has already begun circulating showing our million-dollar jets spiraling toward the earth in flames. It is a miracle, a true testament to their training, that all of the American pilots managed to eject and survive. But it serves as a sobering reminder of just how quickly things can go wrong when the region becomes a crowded, explosive corridor of war. At the heart of the storm, Israel is taking the fight directly to the source of the threat. In a massive display of air power, 50 Israeli fighter jets carried out a devastating strike on a secret underground bunker complex in Tehran. a facility once used by the late Ayatollah. The message is undeniable. Nowhere is safe. This offensive has now expanded deep into Lebanon, where Beirut is being rocked by relentless bombing campaigns targeting Hezbollah strongholds. On the ground, reporters have captured the terrifying sound of incoming missiles and the sight of hundreds of thousands of people racing to escape the violence. As this Iran-Israel war intensifies, the sheer unpredictability of the battlefield is keeping the entire world on edge. The struggle between Israel and Iran is no longer just about borders. It is about the very future of the Middle East, and for Israel, it is a fight for absolute survival. But perhaps the most agonizing chapter of this widening conflict lies not on the battlefield, but in the rubble of what was once a place of innocence. We must turn our eyes to a tragedy that demands our deepest reflection. A horrific incident at the Shajre Taibeh Elementary School in Manab. It is a moment that pauses the breath of any parent or grandparent who knows the true, devastating cost of armed conflict. In the early hours of the joint U.S. and Israeli operations, airstrikes obliterated the school compound. Local officials report a staggering and heartbreaking toll, more than 170 lives lost, the vast majority of them children. The voices emerging from the dust are haunting. One mother, through tears that transcend borders and politics, recounted the desperate search for her 7-year-old son's soul. By the time frantic parents arrived, the entire structure had completely collapsed, burying the children underneath. Witnesses described the absolute nightmare of pulling small arms and legs from the heavy concrete. Today, just down the road from the school, there are rows and rows of tiny graves, freshly dug in the unforgiving earth. While no one has officially claimed responsibility for this specific nightmare, the Pentagon has launched an urgent investigation. Deeply troubling new reports suggest it looks increasingly likely that an American munition may have been responsible. Sources indicate the U.S. is examining whether this catastrophic loss of life was the result of a massive intelligence failure or tragically poor targeting. The school, it turns out, was built by the Revolutionary Guard on a compound that once housed a military base. Yet, multiple locals and a former principal insist it had not seen active military use in over a decade. Independent verification paints a chilling picture. Satellite imagery has revealed at least 7 direct, incredibly precise impacts on the school and an adjacent medical clinic. Weapons experts, looking closely at the destruction, note that the buildings were targeted individually with chilling accuracy. Human Rights Watch has firmly concluded that highly accurate guided munitions were used in the strike. As the brutal reality of the Iran-Israel war unfolds, these silent, tiny graves stand as a grim testament to the innocent lives caught in the crossfire of geopolitical giants. The political fallout is just as intense. While our leaders strive for an unconditional surrender, these tragedies provide fuel for those who wish to see our mission fail. For the families back here in the States, watching the news from the safety of their living rooms, there is a profound sense of conflict. We want a world where Israel is secure and the threat from the regime is ended, but we also want to know that our values remain intact even in the darkest hours of the Israel-Iran struggle. The questions of accountability and the true nature of these targets will continue to haunt the halls of the Pentagon long after the smoke clears over the cities of Israel. Back here at home, the reverberations of this conflict are reaching into the very heart of the American household. For many of you watching tonight, perhaps living on a fixed retirement income, the numbers at the gas pump are becoming a source of daily dread. With oil prices surging at the fastest rate in history, we are witnessing the biggest weekly jump on record. Energy experts are now warning that $4 a gallon is not just a possibility, it is a looming reality. It isn't just about the fuel in our tanks, it is about the rising cost of everything, from the groceries on our tables to the heating in our homes. Wall Street is feeling the strain as well. The Dow Jones, which was soaring just a month ago, has retreated thousands of points while a staggering 92,000 jobs were lost in February alone. This economic turbulence is a heavy price for every American family to pay. Yet, amidst this financial uncertainty, we have also seen moments of profound American spirit and unity. We saw it in the skies as a New England Patriots charter plane arrived on U.S. soil, carrying hundreds of our fellow citizens to safety. To date, at least 24,000 Americans have been successfully evacuated from the region. The sight of those families embracing on the tarmac is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest hours, we never leave our own behind. It provides a sense of relief that no market report can ever match. As we continue to monitor the escalating tensions of the Israel-Iran struggle, we are reminded that our national strength is measured not just by our military might, but by our resilience and our loyalty to one another. The road ahead remains deeply uncertain as the Iran-Israel war reshapes the world, but the safety of our people and the enduring security of Israel remain our ultimate priority. Tonight, we find ourselves at a critical juncture in history. The demand for unconditional surrender has been issued, but the echoes of battle continue to reverberate across the globe. From the hidden underground bunkers of Tehran to the quiet morning streets of southern Iran and the worried towns across America, the world is waiting with bated breath for what comes next. For those of you who have lived through the long shadows of the Cold War and seen the heavy toll of past conflicts, you know that peace is never easily won. We have witnessed the bravery of our pilots surviving the unthinkable, the unwavering readiness of our elite 82nd Airborne, and the overwhelming power of the USS Gerald Ford. But we have also seen the heartbreaking cost, the innocent lives lost in schoolyards, and the mounting strain on our own economy here at home. As the Iran-Israel war continues to test our national resolve, the risks of a wider confrontation loom larger than ever. With Russia playing a dangerous game behind the scenes by targeting our troops, the question of whether we can still avoid World War III is no longer just a hypothetical. The volatile struggle between Israel-Iran has become a flashpoint that could reshape the global order for generations. Our commitment to the security and survival of Israel remains a cornerstone of our foreign policy, but we must also remain vigilant for the safety of our own sons and daughters in uniform who stand on that thin, dangerous line. In times like these, clarity is our greatest asset. We must look past the chaos of the headlines and the noise of social media to remember the human faces behind the statistics, the soldiers, the families, and the children. No matter our differences, the desire for a world where our grandchildren can grow up without the constant threat of global destruction is something we all share. We pray for the families still waiting for their loved ones to return from the Middle East, and for a future where such profound sacrifices are no longer required. Comment: pray for peace if you hope for de-escalation. And please, subscribe if you believe the truth matters more than headlines. Thank you for your time, your perspective, and your continued support. Stay safe and stay vigilant.